All right, we are live, Colin. Welcome back to our second LucidCast. We're gonna continue on our topic from last time with Genshin Impact. Talk more about the game. What some of its biggest problems are. Again, just to reiterate those, and steps that they can do to fix them. Now, Colin, I know that last time you had some things that you wanted to talk about as well, so I'm going to let you handle things for now.
Yeah, I did have stuff to talk about, but I don't entirely remember what they were.
Didn't you write them down?
Nope.
Colin, I know you wrote them down.
I did have a giant list that I did write down, but that was not what I was thinking of yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I think it had something to do with Spiral this, but they're already making some changes to that.
Oh, this is actually news to me. Because I know that I haven't watched the live letter thing that MiHoYo did recently. I only know that we've got the Mondstadt event coming up. And,
a brief look at what those system changes that I was talking about are.
Alright.
A lot of it's kind of okay if you want it, but otherwise, not that bad. The big, probably one of the bigger things is that they're going to make it so you can reduce your world level by 1.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
People saying that it's going to be, maybe the world's a little too difficult for me right now, so I don't want to kind of level up my world just yet. It's not what it's going to be used for.
Indeed.
It's going to be used for, my friend is a world level higher than me, or lower than me, I should say, and so I'm going to be nice and go down so we can play together on my world.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know that you and I are in different world levels right now. And I can't join your world, but you can join mine. Okay, now I've got the right thing equipped. I'm gonna keep these two.
I also assume the stream isn't black.
Nope, it is not. It is streaming completely fine.
So there's that, and then the other thing that's not really important, but if you want to amuse yourself, you can manually cook foods you have perfected in Genshin soon.
You can select.
So you know how you auto cook anything you cook perfectly a set amount of times?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to make it so if you want to manually cook anything, you can.
Oh. Weird. I don't really see the point in doing that, but I mean, if you want mini games.
To me, the thing would primarily be for the amusement of reading the descriptions of food you mess up.
Perhaps.
There's also an achievement for failing food.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay.
Yep.
I didn't know that. I know there's one for perfecting a certain number of dishes.
Indeed. Something I should try and get time when I feel it.
I'm gonna go over to WinCube and look for treasure.
I'm still stealing your flammable mushrooms.
Take your time. I'm gonna swap out official for Yona real quick. So I also want her friendship up. I know that you touched upon a few of the things that we had been talking about in private. Painful.
Like what?
The tertiary and primary game design things. I don't think we went too in depth with those.
Maybe not what I mean by when I say primary, secondary, and tertiary stuff. but we did cover a decent amount of them.
Alright then.
And then, of course, there's primary changes, which are different than those things. I'm referring to.
Well, then why don't we talk about the Spiral Abyss? Because I don't know the changes they're making specifically to that, so that sounds
It's nothing
like
big.
well, let's talk about it anyway.
They are making it so that it is slightly more optimized.
Optimized? How so?
I remember correctly, if you're in the middle of doing a room and you can tell you're not going to get the score you want or just going to fail outright, you can just retry instead of having to abandon Spiral Abyss entirely and then re-enter that way.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually a neat change.
Yeah, that'll be a nice change.
The last important change is, actually, no, I think that would be slightly less important of a change than what I would have done, which is also to make it so that when you actually clear a floor, like floor 10 or 211,
yeah,
or 10-3 specifically, I would make it so that instead of immediately going into the next one without being able to see what the hell I'm about to fight, I would probably make it so you just go out to the normal Spiral Abyss selection screen. Or make it so you can see what you're about to fight in the upcoming floor.
Because it's kind of hard to build correct team comps when you're just mashing the B button or hitting continue over and over again to get to the next area. And then you don't see what's there, and you don't know. You've got a comp revolving around Klee, and there's nothing but fire slimes in the room. So you show up and you're like, oh no. Well, I'm never gonna do damage.
At least Klee won't. In any case, yes, it is kind of a change that would be a big quality of life change in my opinion.
Agreed.
The second thing after that is the thing that they'll be implementing the "you're about to fail" easy retry button.
And that's a nice quality of life, but I feel like the thing that you said is probably more important to focus on. MiHoYo seems to be focusing on a lot of changes that don't really impact the game as a whole. It's just a few quality of life changes. Like, let's take Pokemon Sword and Shield as a quick example. It's arguably the best Pokemon we've gotten since Generation 5, and the only real reason for that is because it's got a bunch of quality of life fixes. You can move your Pokemon from your party to the PC from anywhere in the game. They streamlined EV training. They made it so that you can change natures at will. But at the heart of it, it's still the same Pokemon game. They didn't really do anything to address the things that make Pokemon as uneventful right now as it is.
Yes, eventful. Interesting word.
Well, it's just kind of boring nowadays, if I'm going to be totally honest.
Uninteresting would have been a better word.
Uninteresting, boring. To me, it's kind of boring now.
It is kind of boring. It's the same gameplay as it was back in, what, 1998?
Basically. 96, I think, was when it first came out in... How the fuck are you still... I had to freaking start swimming and you were just standing up. Hilly churros look like they're shorter than catching, too. Sometimes I
No, Josh.
height.
I have learned that if they are, kind of in a weird position like that, if you were to have Sucrose out and you were to lose your E, they would be knocked up immediately into drowning.
Really?
Yep.
Well, it's too bad I don't have Sucrose out.
No, but something I do want to comment on, because I was like, you know what, this is actually a good, something I can agree is a good thing, since they are re-releasing Venti, and I was not expecting child banners soon. It did occur to me, like, you know what, actually, I'm fine with them re-releasing a bunch of banners in between every new character.
Agreed. Personally, I would want them to do a new character and then re-release an older banner and then make a featured banner for a character that has not gotten a banner yet.
Josh, I'm sure we'll see Mona on a featured banner sometime, eventually. Next year.
Oh, why do you have to do that to me?
In any case.
That does actually bring me to a point that I wanted to make, because I actually really like that they're making banners for older characters, but my question is, how long do people have to wait to get some of these older characters? Because I kind of wanted Albedo, but there were other characters coming out in the near future that I wanted more.
Same.
So I didn't roll on him, but I would really like to have him, because I tried him out in the demo and he was a lot of fun. He was really cool. And I would like to get Ganyu sometime too. How long do we have to wait until their banners are re-released? And how long do we have to wait until a Mona banner is released? Or any other character that yet to get their own banner?
Well, if we go based off of Venti, the longest duration, since he was the first banner, for the first character, 6 months.
But then Child wasn't the next one. In fact, wasn't he well into leeway? He was like 1.2 sometime, I think.
If I remember, he came out around October.
November, December, January.
I think that's 5 months.
Yeah, that's about 5 months.
Which is probably what I would have done, actually. The more I thought about it, it's like, you know what, 6 months.
6 months
This is
a
not a year.
Half a year does seem a bit extreme.
It is good enough, in my opinion. At least it's not a whole year.
Like we were theorizing, or fearing, rather.
Indeed. Although, I am curious to see what they'll be doing for their first anniversary, but we still got some time before that even happens.
Well, we've still got about 6 months for that. It'll be interesting.
Agreed. And I finished eating all your mushrooms.
Nice. I'm just kind of going around killing Fuels. Goodbye, Fuel. Damn it, why doesn't falling damage kill these things? Can we just talk about that for a minute? Why does falling from a cliff kill me, but not a hilly churl?
Who knows? If I had to guess, maybe balance reasons, because Jean can apply fall damage.
I mean, yeah, but
Don't even
if
think
that's
it's
the case, why does
intentional
drowning kill them?
I don't know, Josh. How are poisonous insects able to defeat a wind tunnel? At least I think that's how it goes.
A lot of things that don't make sense in anime. But, in any case, the things that they're adding are nice changes and all, but they're not really addressing the central problems that we talked about on Thursday. The biggest problem for me personally is... Oh, hello.
Incoming. Cut to the chase.
The biggest problem for me is definitely the recharge rate for resin. 'Cause I would love to be able to just focus on getting gear for my other team and leveling up Traveler so that I have another good Animo character. Or when Venti's banner comes out and I eventually do get him. I would love to be able to level him up and get him geared out without having to worry about freaking resin recharging. As you know, MiHoYo, I want to play your game. It's a lot of fun. It's a good game. These time gates prevent me from playing it as much as I would like to.
You can understand some time gating, but they have a lot of it for no reason.
Yeah, like I said on Thursday, they have some of the most egregious time gating I've ever seen in a video game.
But it'd be that bad if it wasn't for a matter of there's a whole shitload to grind out between getting a bunch of artifacts, which you need to feel the good artifacts you get if you're going to look for them. All of the money it will take to do that, sending your weapons, which requires a bunch of grinding in certain domains and a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Character experience to get characters from level 80 to 90, which is a lot, which I am not fine with it taking a lot. I am not fine with the amount of days it takes for me to get a single character that...
Agreed. Like, I have Sucrose at max ascension. She's only level 80 right now because I haven't had the amount of experience necessary to get her up. Like, I can get her to 85 and that's using every single piece of Hero's Wit and Hero's Experience and Adventurer's Experience that I have.
I will say though, if I do, as much as I do want to play the game all day, every day, I probably wouldn't just make it so that you can get the same amount of drops. If I were to change it, I would make it so that if you are going to grind stuff all day without using resin, you don't get as much drops. But I could at least, spend hours killing ley lines.
You don't get what?
Get as much drops from using resin otherwise.
Yeah, that would be a nice change. I wouldn't mind fewer drops if it meant it didn't cost resin.
Although I think there is going to be a problem. They also make it so you get the same amount of friendship and adventure rank, because you can get some people that level up really fast otherwise.
I mean, perhaps, but as you have stated, it takes a lot of adventure experience in order to get from 55 to 56.
Yes, but then you said they're fixing that.
Oh. Well, that didn't work out quite as well as I would hope.
Indeed.
Take it away, Captain.
Anyways, the only other stuff I can think of, so maybe a reason to do. Actually, I should check if those bounties give money. I do kind of need some. I should probably do them anyway, just for fun.
Perhaps. Man, there's like 1 or 2 more chests in this region, and this compass just cannot find where they are.
They're not, or rather, there's more than 1 or 2. If I had to guess, I bet I know where they are.
Lead the way. But in any case, those are a few of the problems that MiHoYo is facing. As far as resin goes, the actual biggest issue is just the lack of content, which I am glad they are addressing finally. It just sucks that it's taken them 6 months to finally address it.
Stealing your flowers. And I don't think lack of content is necessarily a problem yet.
What do you think is the biggest
I don't
issue?
know how big they are. To me, the biggest issue is the character draw rates. Those need to be fixed.
So you and Croy agree with that, then?
I don't need necessarily the straight up draw rates, like the 0.5 or the 0.6% chance to draw a 5-star character
yeah.
you draw. You wouldn't necessarily need to change that. You would need to change at least how many times we could. There's a bunch of ways you could fix it. Necessarily buffing the draw rates.
Indeed. Because
I believe in being kind to the players, and in turn they will be kind to you. I do not mind spending money on this game. I will if I have it on this game. But I don't want to feel like I need to spend money on this game.
Oh, are you going to that island over there, Colin?
Yes.
I've already checked over there. There's nothing over there.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm going over there to steal your crabs.
Alright,
then. Even though I think last I checked I have 300 of them nowadays.
That is a lot of crabs.
I decided, you know what, I'm tired of not having crabs, so I went and gathered crabs for as often as I could for like a week.
Shit.
Or 2.
Do you have to do that, cat? But in any case, I do agree that the drop rates do need to be addressed in some way, because Tectone having to spend $1,000 to get just one staff of Homa, that is unacceptable.
Indeed.
And having to spend $500 to get Hu Tao is also unacceptable.
You know, I have been wondering how much money they could potentially make if they were to just make it like a flat thing. Like, instead of having to gamble for all of your characters, you could just spend like $100 for Venti straight up. I wonder how many people would actually be like, you know what, I'll take that.
I ran out of stamina.
Unfortunate.
I need freaking what's-his-face to get over there. How were you able to get so much further?
Well, Venti does have a gliding stamina cost reduction for my own party, so apparently not for you.
If I wanted to get over
it is
there,
interesting.
I am pretty much 100% certain that there's nothing over there for me, though, so I'm just gonna look around over here.
I mean, there is a ruin guard.
I've already killed him. He doesn't drop anything.
It means he didn't drop anything for you.
But in any case, the drop rates do need to be addressed sooner rather than later, because like you said, as they keep adding more characters, more 5 stars, and they are adding almost nothing but 5 stars right now. I mean, Rosaria is going to be the first 4-star we've gotten since
I believe Xinyan.
Yeah, Xinyan, and she came out right after Diona too.
I'm sure they will. Well, hopefully they will address it in time. It's going to be irritating if they don't.
Agreed.
There's something else I heard once, also related to drop rates, and I was like, ooh, I really hope that's not true. But if you've played, was it Honkai Impact 3rd, which is a little bit weird to me, but in any case, if you played that and they have skins, you know, Josh, I think they're going to add the skin eventually. I hear it is possible we might get a skins banner.
Oh no.
Yeah. Won't it be fun, John, having to gamble for skins? Although there's no guarantee that's what they're going to do, hopefully.
I would hope they don't.
Never mind. It's like, yeah, that cool new additional optional outfit for, I don't know, Klee. Instead of spending $50 to get it right out, you get to spend $100 gambling for it. Isn't it going to be great, Josh?
Obviously.
Stolen all the crabs.
Do it.
I already did.
I still have, like, 10 Adeptus Temptation, I think. Yeah.
I haven't been using my food at all.
Same. I use the occasional,
I mean, I use the Adeptus Temptation when it comes to the big weekly fights, but that's kind of it. I don't even need to. I just do it because...
Usually I don't, but if I'm running my team with, like, catching or something, Diona's healing is okay, but it's just the shields and healing and just the healing she gives is just not enough sometimes. Yeah, I wonder if there's like a world puzzle that I haven't found or something. So
not.
that is another thing that we talked about on Thursday, though, for a little bit. They do need to add more 4-star characters.
They will in time. Just as long as they balance it out with the amount of 5 stars they release, I am fine. How it is now. That guy would take a kill with that fire character.
How is her shield already, like, halfway?
Superconductor is okay at destroying the shields. It is not as fast, however, as a Klee.
No, it is not. Are you? Oh, there you are.
Destroyed.
So you've got Klee built then, finally?
Kind of.
She's doing some pretty serious deeps.
Consider her built when I can get her to the final ascension level. But otherwise, yes, all of our artifacts are maxed out. I think.
Oh, let's talk about Ascension for a minute. Because I do think that Max Ascension is... It's almost not worth doing. Other than the voice line that you get and the base attack raise. It's really... There's not really anything that you get out of getting them to Max Ascension. Not for the amount that it takes to get them to that.
It does indeed take a lot. I wouldn't say it's not worth it, though. I don't know. It does take a lot of freaking resources. Most irritating of which is the jewels.
Agreed. What was your math for that again? You said it to me once.
What? All of the little tier 2 jewels?
Yeah. How many tier 2s would you need to get a character?
It's 162.
162. That is a lot.
Is how much
considering that you get like 2 to 3 at a time.
My world level,
you might get a tier 5 if you're lucky.
I'm very lucky.
That is something they need to buff.
Yeah, I don't know about need to, but
you are at world level 8 and I am at world level 7. I have seen 1 5-star drop for the jewels. I don't think it should be that rare.
I can understand the rarity because, like, if they have too much, they're just start getting too much. What they should do is make it so that the Steam stuff is editor, but you get more of the lower tier stuff.
Agreed. Agreed. They need to do one or the other.
Because it get, like, I would say on average, about 6, maybe 9, the total of the tier 2s from the site.
Indeed.
And then, like 3 to 4 of the special drop, like the Everflame shenanigans.
The special drop is what kills me sometimes.
Don't blink.
Sometimes it's like, I really want that special drop, and I just do not get enough. So even though I have enough of the jewels, I need to keep killing the boss a few more times because I still need some of the shenanigans. What the f-
Running into fire proc your Kula. But if you I'm surprised you haven't experienced this, Josh. But you're trying to get a character from level or to that final ascension level, you immediately run out of. You have too much special material.
Yes.
At least that's my problem.
Yes, I have that problem too.
Well, I think it needs to be buffed just a little bit, not a ton, but some. Being able to convert different jewels into another jewel was very useful.
Agreed.
Speaking of which, I don't know if I have enough to get Noel to that final ascension at this point. Probably not, but I also don't feel like doing math right now.
Speed of light.
If I had Kitchen, I'd probably just go with a lightning damage build on her. Without Thundering Fury, I think. Maybe. Because, it did also occur to me yesterday, I don't know why it took me till just yesterday for it to occur, but if you have, like, a bonus electro damage on. Well, I'm going to say a bonus elemental damage cup on anyone with infusion, that would actually be a kind of a big buff to your damage on auto attacks.
Agreed. The problem is I don't have anything like that. And I've got the Aquila Favonia, which is really good on her.
It's a 5-star weapon. It's not the best 5-star, but I feel like there's a problem. There's a problem with physical damage in the game. Borderline garbage.
Kind of. You kind of do need a bunch of physical damage increase stuff, and then you also need a superconduct in order to
Superconduct melt.
Does melt also?
Yes, melt also lowers armor.
Huh. I didn't know that actually.
It is pretty strong, but not just because if you're triggering melt all the time, it's because you're doing fire and ice.
Indeed.
Which also means the thing you're fighting is going to be dead very shortly because melt is really strong.
Melt and vaporize are probably the two strongest in the game. Oh, I've
Yeah.
explored at length over here.
It's because they are the strongest. They're the only two elemental reactions that are actually based off of the attack, not
That is something that needs
base
to
numbers.
be changed as well.
I don't know if it needs to be changed. It's just I think they need to make a small change. Well, it's probably not small on the developer on the developer's side, but definitely be small on the gameplay side. I think, where it would take both. If you're going to apply an element, it's going to take the elemental mastery of both elements into account. So if I have an 800 elemental mastery clean, I throw fire at it, it's going to register fire on it as having 800 elemental mastery. And then you swap over to another character with a bunch of elemental mastery for double the elemental mastery power. Although I would also change because then you'd start getting overlords that do like 16k. And that's kind of a little much.
Well, I mean, that would be a problem if not for the fact that Genshin has big numbers already.
I mean, I feel like Elemental Mastery is kind of like where they intended numbers to be at, kind of. The only problem is with certain builds, you go way above that, making Elemental Mastery a very bad stat.
Oh, my game just froze up. There it goes.
Did you hear what I said, Josh?
Yes, I did. Elemental Mastery, I do agree, needs some buffs. But it is a little unintuitive,
With sword comes shadow.
to put it mildly.
Also, I kind of base elemental reactions based off of Overload because it's kind of the best, well, aside from Melt and Vaporize, but it's kind of just the best thing at 4k base damage if the character triggering the reaction is level 90.
Agreed. When I use my, Klee team with Fischl, bosses just melt.
More like they explode.
Indeed. They get obliterated.
Don't blink.
Let's see if I go to my supers, who still has 808 Elemental Mastery.
Incoming.
Overload. Actually, I think Overload right now. I might actually be wrong. Although you still have to go way out of your way to get enough Elemental Mastery to make it worth it.
Indeed. It almost feels like Elemental Mastery is kind of a bad stat.
Yes. Unless you're doing Overload. And then it becomes really good. It's otherwise indeed not that good of a stat because, again, like, why deal 16k damage under the best circumstances when you can just deal 20 plus k damage with one attack?
Indeed.
And I'm just referring to my gun. I'm not referring to those crazy builds that deal, upwards of 90k plus.
Actually 1 million from that one Mona.
Indeed.
And then literally one-shotting, Zavalin.
Think you can pull it? Speed of light.
Kind of a little crazy. Kind of makes Elemental Mastery not worth it.
Shake hands. Nowhere to hide.
So let's also talk a bit about some disparities between characters. I don't mean like just with like between 4 stars and 5 stars. That's going to be inherent. With something with as low of a drop rate as 5 stars has. Oh, I found a treasure. Something as inherently rare as 5 stars, I would hope that they have a bunch of really high stats to compensate for having to spend goddamn $100 or $200 to get that character.
There it is. I don't know. I personally of the mindset I don't think things should be inherently worse than the other. I don't know. It's a strange topic.
Well, I mean,
So long as things aren't useless, I'm probably fine with it.
Agreed. Agreed. And thankfully, Genshin Impact has been able to avoid making any character that is straight up useless. I mean, even though Amber is the objectively worst character in the game, she can still do a lot of damage. You just have to go out of your way to build her that way.
Thinking about it, I feel like most 4 stars fall into, like, let's say, like, support categories mostly. Because looking at the characters I do have, I don't think there's like really a single good all 5-star team setup. Maybe there's one that I can do, and that would be Klee, Ganyu, Mona, and Venti, or Zhongli.
That'd be a pretty good team. I have
But
noticed that most teams actually do have at least one 4-star character
for
in
work-life
them.
balance,
Like
but
my main team
I think
has
this is
Klee
pushing it.
and Chi-Chi in it, and those are my only two 5-stars. And then I have Fischl and Sucrose as my two 4-stars. Usually, what I see is that there's a single 5-star character, and then the rest are 4-stars.
Indeed. Something I kind of want personally is type of the end game content where it's gonna change your character slightly because you'll have to get them to a certain point to actually even do the content. But it will change all of the characters' kits to be more or less on the same level. Hopefully, in theory, balance is a tricky thing, but
Well, I mean,
is
you
what
and I
I
can attest to that because we play League of Legends. Oh, that's a frustrating game right there.
Incoming.
only if you consider it frustrating.
Frustrating because people are toxic as shit in that game.
Don't blink.
Part of me wants to go on about potential story shenanigans for Genshin, because I could go on about that for quite some time,
Oh,
but it's
didn't we
also...
say that today we could do some theory crafting, though?
I do not remember. Eventually, at some point, yes, but not necessarily today.
Right.
As long as we run out of other topics, I would say, because again, I can go on about Genshin's story for a good long time. It's one of the better things about the game.
Agreed.
Okay.
I do think that this game does actually have a pretty solid story.
I wouldn't say main story. Main story is okay. Not excellent, but
Its
is
character
indeed
stories
up there.
are pretty good.
But they will need to do character development at some point. Mr.
Indeed.
Josh.
Oh, you swapped out for Ganyu. Look at you and your double bow comp.
I have noticed I tend to have all of my best characters be bow users. It's pretty strange. Unexpected.
Maybe
Then again,
God, maybe you just like bows. Maybe that's the kind of character you just inherently like.
I think so far all of the bow user designs are ones I like, except for Diona, kind of.
You don't like Diona's
Diona's
design?
It's not bad, it's just not... It's probably the
Oh
worst
my
bird
god, this
design.
bird is immortal.
Clearly because it's mountain carved.
Holy shit.
Although I could also just bring up my stupid notepad and tell you all the things that I think could change.
Well, I mean, eventually we are going to actually fight one of the gods.
And what do you mean by that?
You know how in the climax for
You mean-
Li Hui, we fought the
Yes.
Lord of the Vertex? I do feel like eventually we're going to fight more fallen gods like that, or even a couple of the Archons.
I killed what you could not.
Wait, really?
And now I don't have to kill Timmy's birds for meat.
strange dust.
Indeed. I will deal with it in a moment, since I have Venti out.
What?
Unless, of course, I can't deal with it. And it also kind of worse, there's a little bit more control over what swirls you're able to get. Just me. But maybe that's just me complaining too much.
I do actually agree with that, because it is kind of frustrating when you're getting a Sucrose ult or a Venti ult up, and you're wanting a good infusion. Hey, found something.
Maybe that's just something that's going to be inherently weak to Animo. Something I can live with.
Indeed. There's treasure in these here parts.
I'm curious how the new story shenanigans they have planned for the next update is going to go.
Who knows?
The voice actors probably know. Do you even know who's going to be getting them, Josh?
Who's going to be getting what?
The story shenanigans.
I'm not sure who.
Well, I could tell you right now.
Then tell me, the suspense is killing me.
Then I guess you won't be able to hear what I'm going to say after all.
No.
In any case, it's going to be Barbara, Noelle, Chongyun, and then I forgot the last one. I know it's all characters I have, though, so it shouldn't take me a second to remember who it was. Oh, yeah, and Bennett. Bennett's the last one.
Wow, nothing but 4 stars.
Indeed.
That's
More
actually
importantly,
nice.
I mean, almost all of the 5-star characters have a story at the moment.
Sorry, allergies.
What?
Catching does not have a story.
Yeah, I said almost all of them.
I know, I'm still salty.
As am I. But they're also not going to be normal stories, which is neat. It's been referred to as the Genshin dating sim. Basically, it's going to be probably a cool story stuff, but it's not going to be like an actual story chap that you normally unlock. Granted, you will still have to unlock it, but
You know what I find funny about Genshin? You need the story keys to unlock character stories, right?
yeah,
I have never once had a problem getting them.
because they don't release the stories out fast enough.
Indeed.
Not that it
It's
matters.
probably a problem for like a newer player now.
If you would even call it a problem, I would not. It's going to be a problem for any player that plays consistently, unless you're going to talk about 2 to 3 years from now. They will have some catching up to do, but everyone else is going to be mostly caught up all the time.
Indeed.
Because, as I'm sure lots of people know, but general game design is always going to be slower than the players who play through the game.
Indeed. You know, it makes me wonder if MiHoYo intended people to beat this game as fast as they did.
That's probably why the time gate's there. That's one of the reasons I hear.
Speed of light.
Or rather, I heard in a video I once watched. People implement time games so that you don't blaze through their game at the speed of light, and then complain that there's nothing to do.
But there's a simple counter to that. Why not just wait until the game has more content to release it?
Oops. It's because, Josh, people always go through game content faster than it can be developed. Unless they're going to put out some really low quality shit.
I mean, maybe?
Just something inherent, because, even making a 5-minute YouTube video requires probably like an hour of work. Unless you're going to make a really low edit video.
It depends on what kind of video you're making.
Cut to the chase.
Indeed.
Something like
Still.
Internet Historian making a 40-minute
Speed of light.
video about No Man's Sky, that takes a long time.
Little
Plus his videos are really heavily edited.
Indeed.
Like with the lady rocketing off into space.
Indeed, but the principle applies to, well, gaming as well. Simply just cannot produce faster than it will be consumed.
Indeed.
You're going to put out low quality stuff, which no one is going to like. So I'm willing to. Weird. We know there's a chest in there. I mean, I don't know, Josh. Some people thought Banjo-Kazooie was a good character to add to Smash.
Well, it's okay, Colin. Those people are allowed to be wrong.
Indeed.
Hey, look who I found.
Incoming.
It's more accurate to say that best physical damage you could possibly do, assuming someone hasn't figured out how to do 100,000 physical damage, is more or less where they intended the game's damage to be around. Because I think one of the things I did kind of remember from what I wanted to say yesterday is that there's a potential problem with the game's damage being too high.
That is something I actually agree with.
Didn't we talk about that?
I think we did talk about that a little bit. We'll go ahead and reiterate it. The game has a ton of damage, and there is a clear disparity between physical damage and elemental damage.
Yeah, I know we talked about it, but yeah, they need to address the damage at some point because need to decide what they're going to balance content around. The perfect team comp that does 1 million damage on Luna's ult, or less extreme 90k on Amber's E under the right circumstances. Or is it going to be based around like these 1 to 3k hits? My official can do 5k on occasion.
Yeah. I wonder if the game is balanced around auto attacks rather than using your abilities. And I feel like the abilities might actually be overtuned.
I don't. Unfortunately, I don't know where the problem would be. This is something that only the developers or someone who has actual development experience or who knows math could really fix. Because I don't know what I would change really.
I feel like it might be a problem with the value numbers just being too high.
I mean, they're not high. It's only when you get to like certain. I think it might just be a problem with buffs because they get a little out of control.
Indeed.
And that's why Bennett is a 10 out of 10 support. Literally the best 4-star in the game.
He gives a huge attack buff.
Indeed.
Nowhere to hide.
I'm not sure where the attack buff applies. If it applies to base attack, I know it bases off his base attack, but if it applies his base attack percentage to other characters, that would explain why it's so powerful.
Yes. Oh, hello. Just dropping in, Colin. I didn't. Okay, there's more treasure around here, but I didn't see
Yeah,
where.
we're here.
which way. Oh, it's this.
Josh, I will find a lizard in one of these bushes.
Will it be a really weird-looking lizard?
Maybe.
They don't know. I found a really weird-looking lizard today.
Hey, look, an empty seed thing.
Oh. That means there's a Sealy around here somewhere. We are just about out of time, though. It has been an hour, so we should probably wrap things up for today. To reiterate what we discussed today, drop rates, 2 down below, they either need to buff the drop rates themselves or do find some other means to...
There it is.
Where? I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Meow. Lead the way, Mr. Spirit. But in any case, they need to either buff the drop rates themselves for 5 stars, or they need to find some other means to buff them.
There's a few ways indeed.
And then they also need to just kind of fix some of the content. They need to add more permanent content. More boss fights would be very appreciated.
They're releasing, or rather I should say previewing one in the next patch. Be a one-time story fight that it was implied that they are going to be adding permanently at some point.
Oh, okay, cool. I know that it's not something that we talked about today, but last week we did mention really need to add some way to unlock character constellations without a dupe.
Indeed. Although something does occur to me, like if they're going to buff drop rates, they might not need to buff that. Whereas slimes that I knew are guarding this chest.
Interesting. But yeah, we are just about out of time, so thank you for watching today's LucidCast. After I kill these 4 unfortunate souls, we will go ahead and thank you for dropping in, and I have been McDurples, and this has been Ludisir. Thank you for watching. We will catch you again on Monday. I shouldn't have done that.
Indeed.
I shouldn't have done that. I forget I have this that I can use.